Pinellas County already has a funding mechanism in place for a new stadium, but it doesn't have a deal to keep the team from moving. Investigator Mark Douglas continues our team coverage on this breaking news. He joins us now live at the Trop. And Mark, Pinellas commissioners, they're going to have to talk about this.
Yeah, they just happened to bring up the raise during a workshop session this morning, not knowing about the deal that was about to be announced in Hillsborough County later this afternoon. So that gave us a chance to ask a lot of what-if questions about the future of the raise and that new stadium. There have been plenty of empty seats at Tropicana Field and a lot of talk about the Rays leaving St. Petersburg.
So the clock is ticking, and it is coming to a point of decision-making time.
As recently as this morning, Pinellas leaders insisted they haven't been sitting on their hands while Hillsborough makes its move.
Yes, I have had ongoing conversations with Brian and Melanie at the Rays, and they are in a holding pattern.
Last year, Pinellas County settled on 10 possible sites for a new Rays stadium, including one on the northeast corner of the Trop property, the only site that would keep the stadium in St. Petersburg. Are you in a holding pattern?
Well, we kind of are. We're all waiting, at this point, for the Rays to make their decision, and quite frankly, I think the Rays are waiting for Hillsborough, the Hillsborough-Tampa proposal to be made, and that still hasn't happened yet.
But according to Hillsborough Commissioner Ken Hagan, it has now, and that gives new meaning to the what-if questions we asked earlier today. If the Rays did leave, it doesn't sound like you'd be brokenhearted about that.
We want the Rays to stay in the community. We want them to stay in Tampa Bay. Obviously, the further east they get from Pinellas County becomes more problematic for our residents.
St. Pete Mayor Rick Kreisman tells us there would be a silver lining even if the Rays leave his city for Tampa or anywhere else.
If the team were to decide to leave, instead of about 70 acres or so of development, you now have 86 acres that's put in play, and a lot of business will come there, a lot of residential.
Well, we'll see what happens, and we should note that we did those interviews when this land deal in Tampa was still hypothetical, talked about, but not the announcement that came later today. Now, we'll see what happens next. I will tell you that if the Rays do leave Tropicana Field here anytime before 2027, they're going to have to buy their way out, so that's another bridge to cross financially. Jen?
Still a lot of work ahead. Mark Douglas live at the Trop in St. Pete. Thank you so much. We will have more on this developing news on our website, WFLA.com, as well as our News Channel 8 app. Coming up at 6, Sports Director Dan Lucas will be here breaking down why Major League Baseball and the team have wanted to get the team out of St. Pete for so many years.